Yo, my people, what's good? It's your boy Andy, back with another video. Yeah, I'm not doing that ever again. I'm here in my room, just chilling, with a different style of video today. I kind of wanted to reflect on some of the things I learned throughout my teenage years and my childhood since I turned 20 recently. Happy birthday to me. Happy belated birthday to anyone whose birthdays are in May, because that's the goated month to have your birthday in. Shout out to my May Warriors. I won't hold your time too long. We'll get straight into this. So the number one thing I've got on my list here is, if you don't control the direction of your life, someone else will do it for you. Instantly, a lot of people associate that with like being an entrepreneur or being self-employed. And if you're not the type of person that wants to run their own business or do their own thing, you're gonna inevitably work a job you hate and someone's gonna boss you around and all that stuff. And whilst that is true, for me, this has shown up in a bit of a different way, mostly in like relationships and friendships. I've realized that growing up I was quite a passive person and I didn't like to rock the boat a lot. So when it came to getting into certain emotional commitments with people, whether you call those relationships or friendships or whatever, I was less vocal about the things I'd like or the things I wanted, or if things were offered up that I didn't feel in line with, I didn't want to voice that because I didn't want to disappoint the other person. So something I realized very recently and through a couple of just different sort of relationships and things I've had with other people is, you can completely change the direction of your life, for better or for worse, depending on the company you keep. And if you're not comfortable in who you are yourself and confident in the direction that you want to take your life, you could go severely off course. So number two on my list is the idea that self-diagnosis can become paralysis. For a lot of your early life, the voices in your head and the things you tell yourself are an accumulation of some of the experiences you went through in younger life, whether that's what teachers told you, what your parents told you, or just the way your young and vulnerable child brain reacted to certain situations. And as you grow older, a lot of us tend to overdiagnose ourselves with these behavior patterns. For instance, growing up, I was pretty shy as a person, and it wasn't because I was shy, it was just because I didn't really have social skills, or I didn't really like to communicate with a lot of the people that are around me. So that's something that I really tied to in later life. And I used to kind of just go around telling people, yeah, I'm just naturally shy, I'm naturally introverted, I'm naturally this and that. And while some of those were true, I've realized in the last couple of years that just changing the vocabulary I use and not attaching to that self-diagnosis, I've been able to meet a lot more people, to socialize, to network in ways that I've never done before. And the only thing holding me back from doing that was the labels I was putting on myself. One thing you'll realize as you get older and in your 20s is a lot of your time is going to be spent unlearning certain behaviors and healing certain parts of your past. And the sooner you can kind of treat yourself as a tabula rasa or a blank slate and understand that, okay, yeah, there are certain things that I just have no control over. Maybe your brain chemistry is different. Maybe you suffer from certain, mental dispositions. But the sooner you can just tell yourself, like, okay, these are all the other things that are in my control, the sooner you can make a life that you really want for yourself. Don't become too attached to the version of yourself that you had to become growing up because of the environments you were in. You are completely free to change and become whoever you want to be. Alright, so number three on my list, and you probably heard this before, but no one actually knows what they're doing. Obviously, it's quite soon for me to say this as someone that just turned 20, but I've grown up most of my life having friends that were significantly older than me. Even to this day, most of my friends are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years older than me. So something I realized is that these people are quite competent and they're doing the right things in their life and they're quite driven. But regardless of that fact, they still aren't 100% on what they are doing. They're kind of just figuring it out day by day. And that goes for the business side of things and the entrepreneurial paths or their jobs. And it also goes for the relationships they have and staying in communication with people and their romantic relationships. Life is this constant growing and searching and finding yourself in all these different sort of ways. And something I really wanted to do from a young age was like figure out who I was and like what I wanted to do, and like I was super like obsessive about that, and it used to stress me out that I just didn't know what I was doing. But now it's not necessarily that I'm going with the flow, but I'm understanding that, okay, maybe a goal I had for myself 3 years ago isn't the same goal I'm gonna have for myself in 5 years. And that doesn't mean that I failed as a person, it just means that I'm evolving and I'm figuring things out. So be diligent, work hard in things that you do, but also don't beat yourself up for not knowing what you want to do. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Okay, number 4, being mature for your age can be quite isolating if you're not careful. So to keep this one brief, once again, I grew up around people a lot older than me, and that means I mentally matured a lot quicker than a lot of people I was around. Not to say that I'm like the super, on it guy that knows what he's doing, because that's definitely not the case. But it did mean that there was like a certain level of relatability I didn't have with people a similar age as me. And though that was true, and most of my friends were older, there was also a disconnect in the habits and the things the people older than me were doing that I just simply wasn't doing, whether that be committing to a full career or in permanent relationships. And I always felt like I was in this like messy in between where people my age didn't really get what I was going through or what I found was important for me at this stage of my life. And the people older than me, though they did understand me, they just couldn't relate to me or even spend as much time with me as I'd like. So I was like really lonely for a long time because I just felt like I couldn't fit in with anyone. And this kind of ties back to the, learning as you go type of thing. I realized that being in this messy middle ground isn't such like a finite and difficult thing. You can still relate to people younger than you and still have them as friends, whilst also relating to people older than you. And it's not this like end all be all dramatic thing that you go through, but I just wanted to mention it because it's something that I think maybe some of my audience can relate to, feeling a bit more mature than your age. And if you are in that messy underground, you will find your people. It's only a matter of time. Number 5, ambition means nothing if you build a life you secretly hate. For a lot of my life, the goals I had for myself were very, I would say, surface level and immature to an extent. Whether it be football and now filmmaking that I'm in, a lot of the things I wanted to achieve pertain to independent success and having a bunch of people kind of celebrate me as a person and the work that I do. And whilst I do think that is hugely important and it's still something that I want to achieve, I think success for me now looks very different. A lot of my goals now within this industry and just generally pertain more around community and what I can do to help others and how I can positively impact the lives of people around me, whilst also achieving what I want to achieve for myself. So to let you in a bit on kind of what I want to achieve, and to stop this sounding too vague, like a lot of the work I want to do within the film industry pertains around obviously people of my background, first generation, second generation, just African, Black, Caribbean people, and like the stories that we can tell. And I feel like in the media landscape for a long time, we've been portrayed in a very specific type of way, which intentionally or unintentionally leads to more stereotyping and more discrimination against people like me. And I want to be able to personally make films and also create the environment for other people who are even more talented than me to make the films and to fund those sort of ventures, to just show like a more evergreen, like more natural day-to-day experience for someone Black growing up in the UK. And once again, my perspective before was like, man, I just want to be this guy, like the guy, like that everyone knows, and yes, that's great, and I hope that I can achieve that, God willing. But it'd be way more powerful for me to open the door to 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people who have the same mission as me. That would do a lot more for the change that I want than just me solely being the guy on the top of the hill. So yeah, just be conscious of the decisions you're making and kind of the trajectory you're taking yourself on, and constantly reassess yourself, because we always learn more new things about ourselves, and that will always inform and change what we value in our goals. So yeah, don't be afraid to change your goals. Right, so the next one, I think this is number 6, but I may have missed one earlier. Moving away from home forces you to meet yourself. So for a lot of my conscious life, because I feel like up to 15 I was just trying to be a baller. So for the time that I just didn't really know what I was going to do with my life, I think I used a lot of like productivity and like the manosphere and a bunch of these other things to kind of distract myself from understanding who I was. So I obviously be in that gym. I had a bunch of pages on IG that I used to kind of scale and like make money off that, and infographics on Canva. And I was like, yeah man, I'm young and I'm doing the thing. And it was good because a lot of what I'm able to achieve now on social media and the way I can understand algorithms and stuff comes from the work that I put in back there. But when all of that went and I moved away from home and I was forced to reset and I came to London, I realized like, damn, I can't outwork myself out of like trying to understand who I was. No matter how much productivity I had, there'd be moments where I was just in my room and it was just me, myself. And I had to sit here with myself and be like, damn bro, like, are you happy with the person you're becoming? Or are you doing the things you know you want to do? Or are you happy with the relationships you have with people? And I think I was only able to confront that since I moved by myself, because when I was in that environment back home, I could get lost in productivity. And yeah, just to be honest, I began working through a lot of like fears and insecurities and things, that baggage that I was carrying that I didn't know I was carrying, and doing a lot more journaling and just thinking and talking with people. And yeah, it's been eye-opening. It's definitely something I wouldn't have experienced if I didn't move out from home. So that's one of the positives. Number 7, consistency matters more than literally everything. Obviously growing up, I used to hear those quotes all the time about, you know, consistency beats talent. And now in my life, I'm seeing what it actually means. It's very simple. Just do the same things. Do the things you should know you should be doing every single day. And if you want your life to change, just do the good things more than you do the bad things, or just don't do the bad things. And whether that be for Instagram, YouTube, fitness, the gym, languages, like I'm realizing all these areas of my life can either improve dramatically or just become non-existent by my own kind of discipline and consistency. So be consistent in whatever you do. Alright, so number 8 is stop being scared of being a beginner. A lot of people don't start things because they're scared of looking experienced, but literally everyone starts there. Everyone starts not knowing niche about something and getting better. And one of the biggest things I tell myself when I try to do these new things that I'm not good at, I mean, you're gonna have pain associated with trying something new and sucking at it. You just are. But the pain of doing that for 6 months and being crap at something for 6 months is a lot less potent than the regret of never trying to do things. Number 9, confidence is mostly built from evidence. For me personally, this is the most confident I've probably felt in a very long time in my life, both socially, within my career, just in general, the most confident I've felt in a very long time. And that's because I'm starting to keep the promises I make to myself. Not too long ago, I was admittedly a recluse. I was in my room all the time. I was working very hard on certain projects, and those projects coming out, and I'm really proud of the work that I did. But I left certain areas of my life on the back burner, like my social life and my ability to make friends and connect with people. And just in the past month, I was like, fuck it, I'm leaving the house. I'm gonna sign up to every networking event, every social. I'm just gonna get out there and make friends and go out and just do stuff that I never usually do. And I realized like I never lost my muscle to make friends or to connect with people. And in a time where a lot of people feel like they're lonely and it's hard to make friends, just the evidence I showed to myself that, yeah, man, I can be this charismatic person that, you know, connects with people and checks up on people and has, you know, these bigger networks of friends to count upon. It was nice. And it made me pretty confident. And I don't know if I'm wrong for saying that, but that's how I feel. And I realized that only came because I said I was going to do a thing and I did the thing. Same way I say I'm going to work out and I worked out. So if you want to build confidence in any area of your life, say you're going to do the thing, do the thing. That's the quickest way to build confidence. A lot of people can fake it, but by doing it, you are showing yourself that you are who you say you are. Your mind controls the quality of your reality. So a couple of months ago, I was probably in my most busy period, and that was the start of the year. I had numerous shoots. I actually made a video about this. You should go and watch it. But I had numerous shoots and numerous projects, and I was really busy. Still have stuff that I've shot at the beginning of the year that has yet to come out, that I'm really proud of. But I realized throughout that whole time, those first 2 months of the year, I felt miserable. And that's really unlike me, because for a long time I attached my self-worth and my value with how productive I was. So on paper, I'd be over the moon. But I was very miserable, even though I was doing a bunch of things. And that's kind of when I realized that I had to spend a bit more time taking care of what goes into this bad boy and the things that I'm thinking and saying to myself. Because you can have a objectively good reality by every metric, but if this guy isn't happy, then you're never going to be happy. So I think a big thing I learned in that period is like, yeah, the mental is important, the mental health side is important, especially when you are trying to pursue and to do these bigger things, and it definitely shouldn't be neglected. Number 13, peace and excitement are not the same things. So for a long time, I misinterpreted chaos for feeling alive, like that feeling of, constantly doing a thing or having something going on or having constant stimulation, drama, just a lot going on at once. It used to give me a lot of passion and put me under the impression that I was like living life and this is what life should feel like. And I need all these things to be happening. I need to feel stressed and I need to feel good. And that was kind of my perception of how life should go if you are living a good life. And once again, very recently, I've been trying to verge into a more peaceful, more controlled life, more balanced life. And for someone like me that grew up thinking kind of that excitement and up and down and this turbulence was the metric or the barometer you use to see that you're living life. In this peaceful point I'm at, or I was at, I started to feel very uncomfortable. But it took me a bit to realize like this is also living, and it's even for me more sustainable than what I was doing before, even though for some other people it could feel very mundane. Number 14, creativity dies when it becomes pure productivity. As you can tell, I'd diagnosed myself as like a type A person that does relatively well with structures and systems, and those are like good ways for me to feel accomplished and to do the things that I know I should be doing. But being a creative, and especially in this industry, I'm realizing more and more that you need to have spontaneous moments and moments that aren't scheduled to kind of let ideas flow and to get your best ideas and your best work done. And it's been very sobering, but also quite painful of a realization to know that like I can't systematize my way into being like this super productive but creative person. The systems will help you to finish a thing. It'll help me to hopefully be consistent on this YouTube channel and post every other week. It will help me to continuously outreach to people better than me and get on their sets and to do all these other things. But when it comes down to actually being creative and getting these new ideas, you have to just be and kind of give yourself the opportunity and the space to come up with those sort of things. So having an element of freedom in my life has helped me to imagine up new things and to uncover this new side of creativity I didn't know I had before. Number 15, the way you speak about yourself shapes your reality. I realize a lot of these are about internal thoughts and trauma, but that's what I've been going through a lot as I turn 20. So I apologize, but it's really important to me. A lot of us as guys, we use certain language to motivate ourselves, and I'm guilty of it and I do it. I still do it. Like if I'm in the gym and I'm trying to do PR, I'll call myself and I'll say, I think about your bloodline or some core just to lift the weight, which is fine. But I think there's like a balance to it. And something that I've been trying to do more recently is just like speak to myself in like a better way. Yeah, not being like too hard on myself, and giving myself a break sometimes. Because what I've realized is I'm the type of person that I'm gonna do the best I can in anything. Like regardless of the circumstance, I'm a push forward and get the thing done. So whether I call myself a piece of or I say like that, you know, you're this great person, you've done all these great things, it doesn't matter, because I'm still gonna get the same result. So why not just speak more positively? It's just a no-brainer, because you wouldn't speak to someone you cared about in a negative way. So why are you speaking to yourself like that? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Think about it. It doesn't make sense. So speak to yourself more nicely, bro. You'll see your life changes. Learn to have difficult conversations earlier. The older I'm getting and the more intense certain relationships are getting, I'm realizing that it's so much simpler and so much easier to just have these tough conversations sooner, or just set them as boundaries at the start of a relationship. And by not doing that, you're just hurting people's feelings, or you're just disappointing people more. So one of the biggest things I'd say is just get good at having difficult conversations, because they are going to be a constant part of your life. If you can handle those sort of talks in a productive manner without getting all subjective and hurting people's feelings or attacking their character, and just keeping it factual, that's going to really help you out in life, just across the board. Business, friendships, everything. Just learn how to have difficult conversations. Being needed by everyone can become a form of ego. With the work that I do, especially as a freelance videographer, well, as a freelance videographer before, but as a DP now, a lot of what you're doing is serving. You're serving people. You're constantly serving people, and you're constantly needed by people to complete tasks. People need your expertise. They don't need your expertise, but they like your expertise. And they'd also like to be around you because you're a great guy or a great gal. And that can definitely boost up your self-worth and your feeling of importance. And it can get to your head, or at least it got to my head. Like the idea that I'd have all these people calling me or asking me to help them out with certain things, or they'd run all these ideas by me and ask if they were good ideas. It felt good, because it felt like, wow, man, like I'm good at something. You know what I'm saying? You know, maybe I'll share football, but you know what I'm saying? I'm good now, you know what I mean? But that was also building my ego. And it's not that ego isn't good, but because my self-importance was placed on other people and what other people needed from me, it meant that I was no longer doing what I wanted to do for myself, because I just kept thinking about what other people needed from me or wanted from me, and I kept seeking that feeling of validation. And that kind of took me further away from the goals and things that I thought were important for me to achieve, because I was too caught up in the feeling that I was getting from doing all these other things for other people. There's a huge difference between genuinely wanting to help other people and then wanting to feel needed at all times. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm genuinely trying to help other people out of the goodness of my own heart, and also for the squalor dollar, because we don't do this shit for free. Oh, my light's gone. I'm just waking up the next morning and my light died, if you get it. So I had to end the video there, but I appreciate you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything that you learned in the comments, make sure to drop it. If you're older, or just generally you've got some game, some life advice that you've gone through, drop that in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Let's help other people out. But yeah, I appreciate you for watching. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.